All right, guys, let's talk about protein. Protein is huge. Everybody needs protein. Protein is the building block of building muscle. So you got protein, breakdown, amino acid. All right, so protein is responsible for acid-base balance in our body, energy production, cell signaling, and nutrient transport. Okay, sounds really fancy, right? Simply put, protein drives the majority of our body and our bodily functions. So fun fact, protein is basically thermogenic. What does that mean? It means it takes more energy to break down protein than it does to break down carbohydrates and fat. So in our body, every meal that we have, we should be looking at making it protein dense. Not all protein is equal, okay? So we have two categories. So we've got incomplete and we have complete. 20 amino acids go into making a protein molecule. Our bodies actually produce 11 of those on its own without any supplementation. The other 9, those are called the essential amino acids. We have to get those from food we eat. So looking at complete proteins, those are gonna give you all 9 of those amino acids. Complete versus non-complete forms of protein, okay? Just to name a few, looking at complete: fish, poultry, eggs, beef, dairy, pork. Incomplete proteins, you got your beans, peas, lentils, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and vegetables. All right, so how much do we need? More and more research is coming out that we have severely underestimated the amount of protein that our human body actually needs. I got a screenshot that I'll toss up here next that really shows protein needs by activity level. Look at moderate to vigorous exercise. Cardiovascular training, 1.5 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. For resistance training, you're looking at 1.7 to 2.2. So when you do the math, we've been severely underestimating by about 30 to 50% of what we actually need when we look at protein. If you're in a rut, reach out to your coach. We gotta get that protein in.
Let's kick it.
Hi guys, this is Coach Jenny, and today we're going to talk about our hip flexors and why they might be tight and how we can strengthen them. So the hip flexors are located on the front top part of your thigh in the pelvic area. It is because of the hip flexor that you can flex your hips and bend your knees to your hips and walk and kick and squat and lunge. They are important to keep the posterior pelvic muscles, your backside, in balance. The hip flexors are a group of muscles, and the major muscles are your psoas, your rectus femoris, which is part of your quads, and the quads that run down from your hip joint to your knee joint, and that's the one that can get pretty tight. Every time you take a step, you are using your hip flexor. Sitting too long or all day shortens and tightens these muscles. And so that's one of the major reasons why we have tight hip flexors, is because if you have a desk job and you're sitting there from 9 to 5 and you're trying to get as much work done as possible, and the fact that we can email people now and we're not getting up and walking and talking to our coworkers, we're sitting way too long at our desks without lengthening the hip flexor, because it's just staying right there short and then it gets tight. If you travel for work and you're stuck in your car or you're stuck in a plane and your hours, again, just sitting in one spot, you're shortening up that hip flexor and creating it to get tight. Believe it or not, exercising too much can cause tears and strains in your hip flexors. And so using that posterior chain over and over again when you run or bike or even elliptical. So after doing any of the cardio machines, we should be holding those static stretches. And I'm guilty. I don't always stretch after I'm done working out, but it's really important and you will feel the difference the next day. If you have a tipped pelvis, and this can happen from having a baby, or if you're not sitting right at your desk, so you're sitting at the tip of your chair, when really your back of your leg should be supported on your chair, so you should be sitting back in that chair, that can get a tipped pelvis. If you have weak glutes or hamstrings, So back side, if that is weak, then the front side's going to be doing more, which is going to cause it to get tight. So there is also other areas of the body that can get sore if we have tight hip flexors, like we can get sore knees or our low back can get sore. You also, other things that can happen, like you can have poor posture, so you have that rounded back, which is going to cause tightness up in the chest because you're not opening it up. They'll talk about your depth when you're squatting and your squat form. And if you have tight hip flexors, you're not going to be able to get that range of motion to get the depth in your squat. So if we stretch and strengthen the hip flexors, we can actually get better squat form and we'll actually sleep better. Obviously, if we don't have pains in our low back and our knees, lots of reasons for us to work on strengthening and stretching the hip flexors. Take a look at this video and here are some movements that can help strengthen. And if you feel like you need a little extra after this, talk to your coach and maybe set up some one-on-one time with them and go over some stretching and some extra strength movements. So we are going to strengthen the hip flexors, and this move here, you're going to grab a kettlebell, flex your foot up and lift up and over. I would start with 10 on each leg, lifting up and over. Next, grab a kettlebell and a booty band, wrap it around your foot. Get up on a step, go up 90 degrees, lift, and hold 1, 2, and then bring it back down. Same thing. I would do probably 5 on each leg to start. Here, this is a clamshell. Most importantly, you're gonna do a pelvic tilt while you're in that bridge. Start with your feet together, up and lift, and squeeze out and back down. And the last one, grab another booty band around both feet, reach out, try to get 90 degrees, hold 1, 2.
Coach Nate talking to you about pre-workout today. So we're gonna talk about stim pre-workout. And stim pre-workout has caffeine in it. That's the major difference between a stim and a non-stim workout, pre-workout. With the pre-workout, you're gonna wanna take it 20 minutes before a workout and then let it kick in. And the benefits of this will be increased blood flow, energy, more focused, and with some, it'll ease muscle breakdown and faster recovery from high intensity workouts. But usually stim pre-workouts have anywhere between 150 to 300 milligrams of caffeine, so that's about 3 cups of coffee. It'll also have beta-alanine. Studies show that it lowers fatigue and enhances recovery after a workout. Some will also have creatine in it to help replenish ATP stores and just help you get through the workout better. Another ingredient that can be in some pre-workouts is BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, and that's there to promote muscle growth and reduce damage to the muscles after the workout. So if you're sensitive to caffeine, don't like the jitters, don't like the anxiety that comes from it, I would choose stim-free pre-workout. And the ingredients you usually look for in stim-free pre-workouts are L-arginine, L-citrulline, malate, and those are non-essential amino acids that our body makes, but supplementing them will help increase our nitric oxide levels to increase blood flow and get the blood flow to our muscles better, get the vitamins and nutrients to our muscles. Also, beetroot, which will also help our NO levels for blood flow. Sodium bicarbonate, and that will help maintain our body's pH levels, because after a high intensity workout, it can reduce your body's pH level, and that'll just keep it nice and even keel. And that is all I have for you about pre-workouts. So get out there and crush the next 4 weeks.